So I'll start with the Jayadwani, right?
Yeah.
Shri Shri Guru Gauranga Gandharvika Giridhari Shri Shri Radha Vinod Bihari Ju Ki Jai. Nitilila Pravishta Om Vishnu Pada Stotra Satta Shri Shri Divine Grace Shri Gaur Govinda Maharaja Ki Jai. Nitilila Pravishta Om Vishnu Pada Stotra Satta Shri Shri Divine Grace Srila Bhaktivedanta Narayan Goswami Maharaj Ki Jai. Nitilila Pravishta Om Vishnu Pada Stotra Satta Shri Shri His Divine Grace Srila Bhakti Vigyan Bharati Goswami Maharaj Ki Jai. Nityalila Pravishta Om Vishnu Pada Stotra Satta Shri Shri His Divine Grace Srila Bhakti Pragyan Keshava Goswami Maharaj Ki Jai. Nityalila Pravishta Om Vishnu Pada Stotra Satta Shri Shri His Divine Grace Srila Bhakti Pramod Puri Goswami Maharaj Ki Jai.
Jai.
Nityalila Pravishta Om Vishnu Pada Stotra Satta Shri Shri His Divine Grace Srila Bhakti Vedanta Swami Prabhupada Ki Jai. Nityalila Pravishta Om Vishnu Pada Stotra Satta Shri Shri His Divine Grace Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Goswami Prabhupada Ki Jai.
Jai. Oh, he's frozen. Video's off, guys. He's frozen. Come back, Maharaji. He's disappeared. Oh no, there he is. He'll be back in a moment. Ashta Sakti. Oh. Radhika, can you take over on the Jayadwani, please?
Sure. Nitilila Pravishna
Okay.
Oh, he's back.
Shri Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Prabhupada Ki Jai. Nitilila Pravishtam Paramahamsa Shri Gokishore Das Babaji Maharaj Ki Jai. Nitilila Pravishtam Sachidananda Shri Bhaktivinoda Thakur Ki Jai. Nitilila Pravishtam Vaishnava Sarvabhauma Shri Jagannath Das Babaji Maharaj Ki Jai. Shri Gauri Vedanta Chai Shri Baladev Vidyabhushan Prabhu Ki Jai. Shri Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur Ki Jai. Shri Narottam Srinivas Shamananda Prabhu Jai Ki Jai. Shri Krishna Das Kaviraj Goswami Ki Jai. Shri Rup Sanatan Bhakti Raghunath Shri Jivagopal Bhakti Das Raghunath Sad Goswami Prabhu Ki Jai. Shri Sarup Damodar Rai Ramdas Shri Gaur Prasad Vrinda Ki Jai. Namachar Shri Haridas Thakur Ki Jai. Prem Se Kaho Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaura Bhaktavinda Ki Jai. Shri Antadeep Mayapur Simantadeep Gojumadeep Mantadeep Shri Antadeep Mayapur Simantadeep Gojumadeep Majadeep Koladeep Rutadeep Janadeep Mojadumadeep Rudrad Shri Navadeep Dham Ki Jai. Shri Radha Krishna Gopi Goviran Radha Savanatmaka Shri Braj Mandal Ki Jai. Shri Shamakun Radhakun Jamuna Ganga Tulsi Bhakti Devi Ki Jai. Shri Purnamasi Yogamaya Ki Jai. Gopeshwara Mahadev Ki Jai. Shri Jagannath Baladev Subhadra Ju Ki Jai. Nishinga Bhagavan Ki Jai. Bhakti Pravesh Shri Prahlad Maharaj Ki Jai. Chara Sampradaya Ki Jai. Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam Ki Jai. Shri Kartik Mas Ki Jai. Dhamada Vrat Ki Jai. Ujeshwari Srimati Radharani Ki Jai. Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda Ki Jai. Sama Karta Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai. Nitai Go Pramanandi Hari Hari Bol. Okay. So bhajan is Shri Guru Charana Padma. Page 28 in the new songbook. Shri Guru Charana Padma Kevala Bhagavati Sadma. Shri Guru Charana Padma Kevala Bhagavati Sadma. Vandamoni Savadana Mate Vanamahi savadhana mate jahara prasade mai idhava kariyaya jahara prasade mai idhava kariyaya Krishna prati hoya hoite Krishna prati hoya hoite Guru mukha padma vakya chite te kariya kya Guru mukha padma vakya chite te kariya kya arna kariya mane asha arna kariya mane asha Shri Guru Charane rati aise utama gati Shri Guru Charane rati aise utama gati Je prasade pure sarva asha Je prasade pure sarva asha Chakrudan dilaje jame jam prabhu se Chakrudan dilaje jame jame prabhu se Divya Gyan Hriday Prakashita Divya Gyan Hriday Prakashita Prema Bhakti Jahate Avida Vinasayate Prema Bhakti Jahate Avida Vinasayate Vede Gaya Hara Charita Vede Gaya Hara Charita Shri Guru Karuna Sindhu Adama Janara Bandhu Shri Guru Karuna Sindhu Adama Janara Bandhu Lokanath Lokera Jivana Lokanath Lokera Jivana Ha ha Prabhu Kara Daya Deha Mare Pada Chaya Ha Prabhu Kara Daya Deha Mare Pada Chaya Tua Pada Laila Sharana Tua Pada Laila Sharana Ebe Askushu Tribhuvana Ebe Askushu Tribhuvana Jaya Gurudeva Jaya Gurudeva Jaya Gurudeva Jaya Gurudeva Jaya Gurudeva Jaya Gurudeva Gurudeva Jaya Gurudeva Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Prabhupada Prabhupada Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Prabhupada Prabhupada Jaya Prabhupada Guru Parampara 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 Go Premanande Hari Hari
Jai. Thank you, Radhika Didi. Can you hear me okay? So today I feel like, oh, I need to invoke, sorry. invoke first. Vanchikalpaturbhischa, Kripasinduevacha, Patitanam Pavanabhyo, Vaishnavabhyo Namo Namaha. Om Gyantiramandasya Gyanjana Salakya, Chakshur Yena Tashmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Srinada Pisunichina, Tarora Pisaishtana, Amanina Manadena, Kirtani Sadari, Anyam Basta Sunyam, Gyan Kanavati, Gyan Kanav, Om Anya Blasasya, Om Anya Blasa Sunyam, Gyan Kamadhyana Vritam, Anukalanya Krishnu Shilanam, Bhakti Uttama, Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda, Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasti, Gaura Bhaktivedanta, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Welcome, beautiful devotees, God brothers and God sisters. Today I'm actually at the Ganga Matas in Skegness in Lincolnshire. Just in the room next door is Gurudev's original Samadhi Murti. So it's really beautiful here. Fantastic property they have here in the heart of England. Beautiful new project. And I feel like today we're coming together as if like a confluence of the Yamuna and Ganga rivers, because it's the 9th glorification of Gurudev out of the total of 63 we're going to do by the time we reach the end of 2021. And at the same time, for most of us, not for you, Maharaj, of course, in India, but for most of us, it's the last day of Kartik as well. So it's quite a crescendo of Bhakti Shakti today. And so I feel a little intoxicated today with all this beautiful energy. So we have a wonderful lineup today. I actually just noticed, I hadn't made the observation before, we have a real ladies lineup today because we have 5 wonderful speakers, 1 gentleman and 4 ladies, which is an unusual combination. The ladies have taken over. So the lineup today is our our beloved God brother from who's from zooming in from Mayapur will be first up, Sripad Bhaktivedanta Tapavsi Maharaj, followed by our sweet God sister, who I assume, although she's based in Wales, I think she's zooming in from Germany, Srimati Caru Candrika Didi, followed by, I'm very excited because she's back online and she's always a not just a powerhouse, but a volcanic eruption of Bhakti energy, our beloved Srimati Ashta Didi, who will be coming in from Watford. And then we go over to the east coast of America, to Rhode Island, where we'll have our sweet sister Srimati Madhuri Didi. And then finally, but not at all least, our dear God sister in Kent, Srimati Nandini Didi. So it's a wonderful lineup. Do stay with us for the whole program. I'm very excited. Hopefully his internet stability will stay. There'll be no interruptions. If it goes a bit dodgy, I'll ask everybody to turn their videos off. But I'm very excited to hear the glorification of our gurus from Sripad Bhaktivedanta Tapavsi Maharaj, my dear friend and God brother, beaming in from Mayapur. Godrum indeed. Maharaji, welcome.
Dandavat pranams, thank you. I am most honored to be here. Very wonderful, especially on this last day for me of Kartik. So somehow or other, you've perfectly arranged everything. Thank you so much, all the devotees. And yes, very special for me to be here on this last day of Kartik after 4 months of Chaturmas and 1 extra month of Purushottam Mas, and now last few hours before the Purnim, before the Ras dance also begins for us tomorrow. So by the causeless mercy of Gurudev, Srila Gaur Govinda Maharaj, Srila Bhaktivedanta Bharati Goswami Maharaj, Srila Prabhupada, Srila Bhakti Pragyan Keshava Goswami Maharaj, Srila Bhakti Pramod Puri Goswami Maharaj, whose appearance day here it is today, all my Shiksha Gurus, and Gandharvika Giridhari, Shri Shri Radha Vinod Bihari. So I've been requested to speak on Gurudev, and I also want to speak about Srila Prabhupada, His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, because they have obviously, like for most of us, have such a significant part, a huge, or all my life really.
Sorry, Dandavat Pranams. Just bear with us. Maharaj is just probably having some technical issues with the Wi-Fi. Hopefully he'll be back on very soon.
Whilst he's not here, can I suggest we extend it by 1 week so we have 64 limbs of bhakti?
Sounds
One,
wonderful. Sounds
so rather,
wonderful.
would that be possible? Because then it's numerology, and then we have like, oh, Maharaj is back. Jai, Dandavat.
Dandavats, Dandavats. Shall I keep going? Can you hear me?
Good, Maharaj.
You're all so prepared that you've got like, you know, speakers to speak in between, and that's wonderful. I just love it. Your organization and to keep it smooth and connected. That's my dream as well, to keep myself connected. So Kartik is coming to a conclusion, and in essence, I could say out of all of this talk that for me, Gurudev gave Radha consciousness, that he brought Kartik. Of course, there's many things Gurudev did, but he really brought Kartik to the forefront with the Damodar Astak. Every time we went to Vrindavan, I remember in Mathura, so many devotees sitting together and eagerly listening to Gurudev speaking about Damodar Astakam and the intensity that we were going to go on Parikram. So he really highlighted this month. And I see that since Gurudev's Parikram and the intensity of that Parikram, so many other groups, of course, some were doing it before, but now it has like blossomed. And Kartik months, there's so many devotees coming from all over the world. Well, not now because of the situation, but previously, to connect with Srimati Radhika. So Gurudev really brought her to the forefront. It's interesting, actually, when you look at the Kanishta, generally for the Kanishta devotee, that Radha isn't really playing a significant role. She's not ignored, but she's not really acknowledged, let's say. She's barely recognizing, the devotees barely recognizing Radha. Their main focus is, okay, let me surrender and purify. Let me surrender and purify. So Gurudev didn't want just to leave everybody on that platform. I think we all felt his pushing. Wherever you stood, wherever you sat, however far you sat away, there was always this feeling of, come on, get up, rise up, and contribute and connect. So for the Kanishta, that certainly Gurudev explains that when Srila Prabhupada came, that he was preaching to people who really knew nothing about Krishna consciousness. And he wasn't able to give really he preached Bhakti. why was Gurudev saying that? It was because so many were not ready. And then he said, but now good fortune has come by the mercy of Srila Prabhupada. And we can also understand by the mercy of Gurudev that the time has come to move forward, because the Madhyam sees the love between Radha and Krishna. He may not understand it and be fully absorbed in it, but he sees the love between Radha and Krishna. And he sees that they invite us to their love. They're inviting us. It's almost like the deities are looking out. The Madhyam is looking at the deities, and the deities are looking out and saying, come on, inviting them. So, right now, I've talked a little bit, just touched on sort of Gurudev coming and really giving I'm going to try to make this short now because I don't know how much time I have. So really Gurudev wanted us to not miss the point. Prabhupada came to give so much, and many people have got caught up in trying to understand Srila Prabhupada in one sense. But when the Uttam comes, he sees not, you see the Madhyam, he sees with trying to understand through, I wouldn't say through logic, but he's discussing with other devotees, and it's somewhat a ascending process. So he's trying to understand with others, whereas the Kanishta, his understanding is very narrow. He sees one thing and accepts one thing as everything. That is in the Bhagavad Gita, 18th chapter, text number 22, where the one in knowledge, in ignorance, he's only seeing one thing and accepts that as everything. Whereas the Madhyam, he is trying to, with other devotees, trying to look at different quotes and how to piece it together. So he has a broader understanding, and he's actually trying to understand. Whereas the Uttam, his intuition is of the highest order. So it's descending into him. So therefore, he doesn't, when he, like Gurudev, when he sees Prabhupada's books, or he knows Srila Prabhupada, he knows what Prabhupada wants to give. There, in one sense, there's no question of research or trying to understand something. Even the apparent paradoxes that are there in Prabhupada's books. For example, Prabhupada talks about there's no love in this world. And you hear that repeatedly by Srila Prabhupada. But then you read in the Nectar of Devotion that Prabhupada says that everybody has an intrinsic nature to love, and you cannot live in this world unless you are loving, you know. So there's these apparent paradoxes and almost opposite points of view. And so the Uttam, he, from his position, is able to see the real point of all of this, the real goal. And that is what, as we know, there's an internal mission and there's an external mission. Mahaprabhu had an internal mission and he had an external mission. So now, when Gurudev has physically departed, of course, he's never departed. He's always here as Akhanda Guru Tattva, always present with us. However, because of his physical departure, we have a special opportunity. Gurudev gives the example of the gopis. He said that Krishna was in Vrindavan and all the gopis were with Krishna. Then Krishna left. He goes to Mathura and then he goes to Dwarka. Now the gopis were feeling so terrible that Krishna had left, but they got something special. They got this Vipralamba Bhav, this mood of meeting in separation. So that they received, even though Krishna had left. Now, Gurudev has left us. Srila Prabhupada has left us. At the same time, we have a special opportunity in these moments. And what is that? And that is to understand their mission, to understand their internal and their external mission. Just as Mahaprabhu, when Mahaprabhu left, it was only when Mahaprabhu left that Krishna's Kaviraj wrote the Chaitanya Charitamrita. And the Vrindavan Das Thakur wrote Chaitanya Bhagavat. So still, even when Mahaprabhu was present, many people did not understand his mission. Why? Is because either they were so absorbed in serving Mahaprabhu that they, in one sense, didn't have the time, let's say, to reflect. Just as when Gurudev is here, when Srila Prabhupada was here, many devotees were very busy serving Srila Prabhupada and Gurudev. And so maybe didn't have the time. I know when I was serving Srila Bharati Maharaj, it was very busy. It was constantly moving, constantly focusing on serving Maharaj. And now there's almost like some time, more time to reflect. Okay, what did Maharaj come essentially to give? What did he give me? What did he come to give others? So this time is a very important time. And there is another example that Gurudev gives about Uddhav. He said that Uddhav, he was sent. Krishna was going to send Uddhav to Vrindavan. And Uddhava was saying, no, I don't want to go. I want to be here with you, Krishna. But then Krishna says that actually, Uddhav, I am 1% here in Mathura, but I am 100% in Vrindavan. Why I'm making this point is because Uddhav thought that he understood Krishna. He thought, no, I'm with Krishna, I'm understanding Krishna, and I like this situation. But actually Krishna, in one sense, was saying, Uddhav, you haven't really understood. You have to go now. You have to be in separation from me. You have to go, and you have to go to the Braj Gopis. And they will teach you, and they will teach you, and you will see how I'm 100% there. So we need to discuss Gurudev's teachings. There is a great emphasis on this, because not just for now, because for now we're discussing and we can help each other. We can say, oh, maybe you were saying this, but Gurudev actually meant it like this, and we can, as either kanishtas, as madhyams, we can try to move forward, move up. But also, I'm thinking for the future generations, just as with Srila Prabhupada, they have tried to understand more deeply Srila Prabhupada's teachings, and very, very minutely and very carefully they have done their best for the future. And so our mission is also to discuss amongst ourselves and to make it very clear what, for future generations, what Gurudev has come to give. And what his speciality was. And this is, of course, is what we're doing on these Zoom calls, is doing exactly that, giving each other the opportunity to discuss these. So even I remember before that in the sort of late 80s, there was a very strong opposition to reading any of the other acharyas' teachings. But if you read in the first canto, first chapter, and text number 1, right in the beginning, Prabhupada says, if one is a sincere student, they will read the commentaries of the acharyas like Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, and he lists all the acharyas, Baladev Vidyabhushan. So that means that actually, even though the devotees have come together, they missed something. And that is the difficulty sometimes with the Kanishta, with the Madhyam, that we can analyze and try to understand. But so many times we've seen that they're coming up with an idea that they think is right, but it may not be right at all. It may not be right at all. So what does the Madhyam do then? Therefore, he comes together with other Madhyams and try to understand how the Uttam sees, and try to then present it as the Uttam sees things. So this is really why I'm saying all this, is because this is what Gurudev did with Srila Prabhupada. Within a flash. It wasn't like he had to think or discuss it. It's like, okay, this is your Swamiji's mission. I remember sitting in Varshana, I can't remember, 97 maybe, something like, in Parikram, and Gurudev said, after all the devotees had glorified Srila Prabhupada, and then Gurudev said, none of you, basically something like this, this is the way I understood it, that none of you, I have known your Swamiji for so long, and he has said our relationship is transcendental, and all of you are glorifying his preaching of books and building temples and doing all these things, which are certainly wonderful. Even Shankaracharya, who was a great preacher in India, only preached in India. But Gurudev said, what is his glory? His real glory is, who is he in the spiritual world? And there was a silence that fell across, because that was the first time I think most of us had heard Gurudev speak like that. And then there was a seismic shift. Like, oh my gosh, we have missed the point. We've missed the point. Actually, this is Prabhupada's glory. And what he has come to give is, obviously, as we know this, Swabhakti Sriyam. And this is what Gurudev emphasized again and again and again, to make it in such a way, just as Prabhupada emphasized in every page of his book. If you read any page of Srila Prabhupada's book, you're going to come up with, you're not the enjoyer, you're a servant, and you're to serve Bhagavan Krishna. So in the same way with Gurudev, we have been inoculated in one sense of what is the goal. And this is because Gurudev, as an Uttam, he's seeing the whole thrust and in which way to go. So I'm going to conclude in a minute, because we're running, I don't want to run too late. But the other point that I feel that Prabhupada, Gurudev and Srila Prabhupada, and I'll conclude with this, have emphasized and want so strongly is this verse. If I may just find it, let me see if I can find it. It's in the Nectar of Instruction. I'm sure you all know this. The life of the Krishna Consciousness Society is nourished by these 6 types of loving exchanges among the members. So I love this because it means that we will only be nourished if all are nourished. In the sense of, we're nourished now by our Guru Parampara. We're nourished now by other Vaishnavas. But really, you see, there's the internal side of this, which is our own development, which is Gurudev is focusing, come on, develop this, grow it. Don't stay at this lower stage. Don't be so narrow-minded. The Kanishta is narrow-minded. The Madhyam is open-minded, because he's going to look, he's trying to understand, and the Uttam is broad-minded. He, as Prabhupada says in the Bhagavad Gita, he's a Mahatma. A Mahatma is broad-minded. He can understand and see everything. So why is Prabhupada writing this? Is such an important point, is that we need to nourish each other. We need to nourish these exchanges, because without that, what Prabhupada's saying, the life of the Krishna consciousness society is nourished. That means the life. Life means the jiva, the pran. So as we know, we can't just individually do this. So a part of our work is the internal work. As Mahaprabhu came, he had this internal mission, but he also had an external mission. And the external mission was to spread this prem, to garland the world with prem. And Prabhupada saying that really, unless we are developing and nourishing ourselves with each other, who will come? Who will join us? How? And when they are with us, they will become nourished by our love. And that's what Krishna said to the gopis. I cannot repay your love. You be satisfied with your love. Your love itself is pure. So it's that exchanges that the devotees will relish in their loving dealings. So I want to conclude. Let's see if I've said that probably quite a couple of times now, but there's just one point. Let me see if I can just find, yes, that let their love be their own reward. I think it's so beautiful. That's the reward. The reward is their love, not if someone reciprocates. The love is the seva. And let them be satisfied with that. And then something to reflect on and think on in the end, I would say, not in a sentimental way I want to say this, but I want to say this obviously in connection with the devotees and the broader world, that we can think of, have I loved much? Have I loved well? These are sort of what I call open-ended questions, something to consider in our life, in our day-to-day life. Have I loved much? Have I loved well? And that's certainly, as I said, to Gurudev, to the Vaisnavas, and to our near and dear ones, our wives, our husbands, our children, our friends, and to the bigger community of the whole world. So thank you very much, Dandavat Pranams, for giving me the opportunity to speak a few words on Gurudev and Srila Prabhupada.
Thank you, Maharaj. I'm so glad we went the last mile, because that was really beautiful. That would have felt a big hole in my heart had we lost you at that previous interruption. I mean, that was astounding. For me, Srila Gurudev and Srila Prabhupada, I remember being in America that first year in Badger, and just seeing how much Gurudev was. I mean, he told, before they left for the West, he told Brajnath that was one of his goals, was to visit every holy tirtha that Prabhupada had been to. Mm. And when I was in Badger that year, and there was lots of people that were definitely in that narrow-minded view, and you could just see him melt, literally the whole temple gradually melted, row by row. The front were already melted, the middle then melted. Then the guys at the back, they'd be kind of like your modern Trump supporters with their arms folded, the Republican redneck types. And then you can just see it just like, metaphorically speaking, not actually speaking. And you can just see it all melting, And the other thing I wanted to add to something you said, which I thought was really beautiful at the end, it's not how much I loved in my life, it's how much am I loving every day, every hour. How much am I reaching out? And I think the thing is, the pronoun I needs to be unpacked with how much am I taking the love from Gurudev and from Prabhupada and distributing it. Because if we try and love on our own, we're going to fall over. We don't have the capacity. But when we have that Shakti, when we have that empowerment, when we have that mercy from Srila Gurudev, Srila Prabhupada, depending on how developed our relationship is with them, and that mercy comes in, then we have such capacity to shower so much love in a world to each other, and then also to a world that's so needing of it. So I really love what you said about
that. Very, very nice, very nice. Yes, once we're in connection with Guru and Krishna, it's their love that we're sharing with everyone. And I mentioned that just as a sort of something to think about, that how much we've done. Yes, we're doing that.
And also their love, their mercy can go into the darkness in our hearts. We don't have to be ashamed of the darkness in our hearts. We can bring it to the light. We can bring it to the bhakti. We can bring it to parampara, because they can transform it into love every single time.
Yes.
We don't have to be shamed. We don't have to feel shame.
No, no, no. And I remember one time in Best Plus in the south of France, Gurudev gave this whole class about you have to share your heart with the Guru. Okay, and so then after the class, maybe a few hours later, I was with Gurudev, and some few devotees have written letters to Gurudev. And Gurudev was saying, they have shared everything in these letters. I didn't mean they have to share all these things. He's saying, our process is also in the heart. We share everything with Gurudev in the heart. Yeah.
Right.
Very nice. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Maharaj. And I was just thinking about what you've said, and I was just thinking, like, as a disciple of Srila Gurudev, what am I doing to contribute to his mission? And I think that's a big thing for any disciple to really do. It's one is to, like you said, is to go internally and practice internally, but the other is to go out and help the others, because that's their part that they want you to do as well. So as well as practicing inside, is to go externally and support a wider group. And I was just remembering what Srila Gurudev used to say at the end of Kartik every year, is that everyone should come to Parikram, and everyone should come and get together and meet in Parikram. And I just wanted to, I felt like maybe it's Gurudev saying it, but I just felt like Gurudev wanted to say that to everyone. Come to Parikram and come and celebrate with him, because he's actually guiding us. He's the one that's walking through Parikram with us, even though he may not physically be there, he's still there. So thank you so much, Maharaj. I'm so happy. I was actually praying to Srila Gurudev that please just let Maharaj's internet work, and it seems to have done the trick. So I think all of us were praying at the same time. So that's super amazing. So thank you so much, Maharaj, for speaking and spending time with us. So I think we're going to move to our next speaker. She's moved from England to Wales, and I think now she's in Germany for a little bit. She is a darling daughter of Srila Gurudev. She's spent many years with him. She preaches very beautifully and holds the Bani of Srila Gurudev. And I'm always grateful to have her around. It's none other than our Caru Candrika Didi. Is she there? Yeah. Haribo. There she is. Dandavat pranams.
No, okay. Haribo, Dandavat pranams. So, shall I start?
Yeah, we can only see half of your face though.
Okay. How am I going to do this? Because
oh, that's okay. Maybe that's okay if it's difficult.
I have to find something.
Or unless you move back slightly.
Huh?
Unless you move back slightly.
Back slightly. Okay. Does that work? Okay. Sorry, I'm not very technical. Okay. So I'll begin. Omagina tamandasya gananjana slakaya. Chakshumli tamyena tasmai shri guruve namaha. Namo Vishnupadaaya Radhikaya Priyapane Shishima Bhaktivedanta Narayaniti Namane Vanchakalpadrubhyascha Kripa Sindhabevacha Patitanam Pavanabhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Shri Gaur Bhaktivinoda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So, before I begin, I'd like to offer my humble, most respectful obeisances, my heart like flowers at the dust of the lotus feet of my Gurudev, Vishnupadastata Sadashishimad Bhaktivedanta Narayan Goswami Maharaj, and unto my Param Gurudevs, all Vaishnavas and Vaishnavis, and all devotees on this Zoom program, and even not on the Zoom program, all our godbrothers and godsisters, and all followers of Srila Gurudev. So, wow, I am so blown away by this program you Shodananda Brew and Yasodhari Didi have been arranging, that it's been so sweet. Wow. I've been tuning in as much as I can. I've heard, I think, most of the classes, programs, sharings, and yeah, it's so nice to, when you hear devotees open their hearts and really share what they've been given from Gurudev. So thank you for that. And Sripad Tapavsi Maharaj spoke so beautifully just now. Anyway, I'm so grateful to hear everyone. So I was thinking this morning, really connecting with Gurudev and thinking about his qualities, his characteristics, so many things. And what really came to me was that when I think of Gurudev, I think, he was, or he is, I should say, is a real Brijbasi. But what kind of Brijbasi? He's a Palyadasi of Srimati Radhika. And what has he come to give us, essentially? And Tapavsi Maharaj was touching on this, that he's come to give us Palyadasi Bhav, Radha Dasham. So therefore, his whole Sadhak Leela, his whole Acharya Leela, was in that vein, or for that purpose. So first of all, what did Gurudev teach us about the moods of the Brijbasis? They have pure love for Krishna. Gurudev would always say, they see Krishna as their friend or as their Lala, darling son or beloved. They have this lokik sabandhuvat. That means a familiar relationship based on natural intimacy, which resembles the love between bosom friends in this world. That it's totally bereft of Vaishvarya Bhav. That's like a mood of awe and reverence. Therefore, Gurudev, he never referred to any of us as his disciples. You'd never hear him say, my disciple. You never hear that. But rather he'd always say, oh, my darling son or daughter, like this. So we were just reading recently, every day we've been going through the Sri Damodar Astakam of Gurudev's, and there says, Gurudev says, if we are to obtain Krishna, then we must love him more than he loves us, and only then can he be controlled. We will also have to love him with great intimacy. That means Vishvamba Bhav, and with Lokik Satbandhurat. That means, as I explained, the same simple, natural attachment that the Brijbasis have. So Gurudev was saying that Krishna, he may be pleased by Aishvarya Prem, but he cannot be controlled by it. So, and also he explained that Sanatana Goswami, he said that, what is this? He described the meaning of Lokik Satbandhuvat. And he said it's characterized by intense possessiveness or mamata. So, therefore, the way in which Gurudev interacted with us was always with this mood of Lokik Satbandhuvat. So, Why? Why? Because it was natural to him. Why? Because by interacting with us in such a way, then we would learn the moods of the Brijbasis. We would learn the moods of the Manjaris, of the Dasis of Srimati Radhika. Gopi means secret. So Gurudev, his whole way in which he interacted with us was like that. It was sometimes not so direct, even like indirect. We'd have to go a little deeper to understand what he was wanting to give us. So so like this, he'd deal with us in such a way that he would how to say, stir our hearts. In that way, we would begin to develop more and more attachment to him, which is what he wanted. He wanted us to be greatly attached to us. And then from that mamata, then we could develop that possessiveness for his object of attachment, who is none other than Srimati Radhika. So, so in this way, I wanted to share with everyone how I came to meet Gurudev and some of the interactions that I would have with him, and how, looking back on those interactions, then that I can understand something, very little, but something of how he was trying to ingrain in us this mood of the Brijbasis, this mood of the Dasis of Srimati Radhika. So first of all, going right back, I joined ISKCON in 1991, and I'd been in ISKCON for like 3 years, and I hadn't yet taken initiation from any guru. I was searching, but I couldn't find anyone who was like Srila Prabhupada. I wanted a guru just like him. And at this point, I didn't think it was even possible. Looking around, I thought, I actually did meet Srila Govinda Maharaj on a number of occasions, and even had personal darshan with him like that. But somehow, I didn't come to accept initiation from him. So anyhow, I was praying and praying to Nityananda Prabhu, and I was staying at Bhaktivedanta Manor, so I was praying to Radhika Kulananda there. Please, 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 I want a guru, I want a pure guru. So then, actually I had a very good friend at that time. She was like a best friend. Her name was Indulekha Didi, and she was initiated by Gurudev in the early 90s. And she happened to stay at Bhaktivedanta Manor for some time. So now and then when I would meet her, she would share some of beautiful, sweet pastimes of Krishna that she'd heard from Gurudev. And I and a few other ladies at that time, we would be so attracted and really touch our hearts. And I heard from her, some tattva siddhanta, like how we never fell from the spiritual world, and what, that jiva tattva Gurudev would give about how we came from Mahavishnu, we didn't fall from Goloka Vrindavan, like this. So I as soon as I heard that, I thought, yes, this makes complete sense. So, I just love to hear from her, and I got a few books of Gurudev. So then in 1994, I went to Navadweep, and stayed at, I stayed in Mayapur, in the ISKCON temple there. And this Interlocutor Didi, she came and she said, oh, do you want to come to Navadweep and meet my guru? And I said, yes, of course, definitely. So then she took me that time to Devananda Gauriya, where Gurudeva was staying. And she took me straight in his room and, paid my pranams, and Gurudeva was looking at me. And even I remember from that first encounter, he was looking at me with so much affection. And I was amazed because, like, I was, ISKCON, like, so much awe and reverence to all gurus there. But even though I was nervous, like, all that nervousness went away, very quickly. And we had a very sweet exchange. He was asking me, some things about myself and where I was staying, all these things. But that time I wasn't thinking, to take initiation from Gurudev. I was in ISKCON. I didn't want to leave ISKCON. So like that. Anyhow, later Gurudev came to UK in 1996. It was his first world tour. So then I, along with my husband, former husband now, we went to hear his lectures. Interlocutor Didi had invited me, and I was going to the village hall near the Bhaktivedanta man at that time. So I was hearing, and Gurudev at that time, he had quite a strong Indian accent, and I wasn't so used to it, so I couldn't understand that much of what he was saying. But some things really stood out for me. And I remember he was speaking on this Shri Guru Charana Padma, this song, and it got to the line, Prema Bhakti Yaha Hoiti Avidya Vinasayati. And he said, actually in this song, Srila Narottam Das Thakur, he said, Prema Bhakti Yaha Hoiti Avidya Vinasayati. But what comes first? Is it that Prema Bhakti will come into the heart and then all our anarthas will go, all ignorance, avidya will go? Or is it that first our hearts must be cleansed of all anarthas and then Prema Bhakti will come? So, suddenly my ears perked up and I was like really eager to hear this answer, because I kind of was wondering this myself, before. And then he asked some of the devotees, do you know? And they were saying, oh, I think all avidya, all ignorance, all anarthas must be first cleansed in the heart, and that then bhakti will come. And Gurudev said, no. He said, first, bhakti will enter the heart, prema bhakti, and then all avidya, all anarthas will go. So when I heard this, I thought, wow, this really struck me. I thought, this is amazing, like brilliant answer, and I was so happy to hear this answer. So anyhow, I was going to his lectures for a few days, and then Shamurani Didi, she came up to me, after maybe third or fourth day, I can't remember. And she said, oh, what are your plans? How do you like the lectures? And, you're going to continue to come? And I said, well, I can't really understand Gurudev's accent so well. I didn't say Gurudev, I said no, just accent so well. And, we're thinking of going, my husband and I are thinking of going on traveling Sangatam from tomorrow. So then Shamani Didi said, oh, really? Well, but he's continuing to speak. Why don't you continue to come? And I was like, well, I'm not sure. We made this plan. She said, well, have you had personal darshan with him before? And I said, no. And she said, okay, I can arrange. And so she arranged. So I speed up a little bit. I went to Sridham Sakababu's house where Gurudev was staying, and Shamarani or someone, I can't remember, said, oh, Gurudev's in his room, you can go and speak to him now. And I wasn't really prepared, but I thought, okay, you know, and I went. And then I said to the first question I asked Gurudev, I said, oh Maharaj, you know, we hear in this song, Chigu Chana Padma Chakudana Diliye Jami Jami Prabhu say that, you know, your guru is your guru birth after birth. And I was wondering, you know, how can we search and find our guru? How can we understand who is our guru? I had this idea, you know, somehow I'm meant to search and find and recognize who is my guru. So then Gurudev, he gave a long answer. And then he said, actually, you cannot search and find guru yourself, but guru will come directly to you and he'll come knocking on your door. And then I was like, you know what, like, again, it was another like, wow. And then I looked at Gurudev and I thought, oh, are you my guru? You know, that time I started to sing. And then anyhow, asked another question, which I'll maybe tell another time. So later on, I had another darshan with Gurudev along with my husband, former husband, and what happened, we were sitting in the room, it was just Gurudev and him and me, and then Ramnath Prabhu, he was pouring his heart out to Gurudev and, you know, really like opening his heart and telling so many things, you know, what he'd been going through. And Gurudev looked towards him with so much compassion. And I, you know, really, I just looked at Gurudev and I could really see this like love emanating from him. And it was, wow, it was like a downpour of love. And then my heart melted and I started to cry. And I knew at that time, I said, this is really a pure devotee. I understood, you know, I'd heard about, you know, of course, Srila Prabhupada and pure devotees, but then I just somehow, by his mercy, I got this experience of this is what it means to be a pure devotee. So then, or this is what it means to be in the presence of a pure devotee, I should say. So then Gurudev turned to me and he said, oh, if you want initiation, I'll give you initiation. And at that time I was ready. I said, yes. You know? So then to move on, I took initiation and I started traveling with Gurudev around England. And then I went to America. And anyhow, just to, you know, share that traveling with Gurudev, it was like entering another world altogether. You know, Gurudev was like, as we all had experienced, the embodiment of sweetness. So whenever you would interact with him, you would feel that sweetness, you would feel that love. And, you know, just by his merciful glance, his sweet words, you know, how he's joking, how he touched our hearts. So anyhow, also what was really amazing for me was, you know, in ISKCON I'd heard so many classes, but I'd never heard anyone describe Krishna Leela like Gurudev. It was as though like he would transport the whole audience to Braj. And as we know, he'd often say, oh, you know, come with me to Braj. And say, come with me to Braj, where that naughty boy Krishna is entering the homes of the gopis and stealing butter. Not butter, but their love and affection. So like this, he would capture all our hearts. And you know, I think Kishore Nanbu was just telling how even those with the hardest of hearts, like even those who had so much like resistance, their hearts would completely melt. So so I just wanted to tell also you know, a few interactions that I had with Gurudev and how they're so sweet and loving. So you know, we know that Krishna is one of his like best qualities, maybe his best quality is Bhaktivatsalya, and Gurudev certainly you know is Shishyavatsalya. So you know, in the beginning when we were first traveling with Gurudev, then he would be so accessible and you could go and see him anytime, you know, speak to him. Like it was so sweet. And Gurudev would speak very sweet pastimes, you know, Gopi Geet, Venu Geet, Brahmara Geet, all so much nectar. We were like, you know, so eager to hear. So anyhow, one time I was in a lecture with Gurudev. I traveled with Gurudev from like 96 till he left this world in 2010. So that by his mercy dragged me, you know, somehow. So many interactions with us, many questions. I wish I could remember all the questions and all the answers, but I can't remember them all. But anyhow, so one time I was in a lecture with Gurudev, and I was this was after some years, and you know, Gurudev was kind of a little less accessible. There was more and more devotees, disciples like this. So I remember I really wanted to get darshan of Gurudev, and Radhika, Didi, and myself, we were there. Gurudev was staying in a house, like in an upstairs room. So we were downstairs and we were thinking, oh, you know, if only we could get in to see Gurudev, but who is there? Jai and Vijay, like Madam March and Bhajan guarding, we used to call them. Anyway, so then we were just like watching, spying, seeing when they were leaving Gurudev's room, and it was an opportunity. So got the stairs and look, and okay, not possible now. But then Madam March left, Rajanapabu left, and there was an opportunity. So we went scurrying up the stairs. We were like little excited children. and then one of us, we opened the door and peeped in to see Gurudev, and Gurudev immediately looked at us and he looked so happy to see us, like bright smile upon his face, and you know, he indicated, yes, come. So we both went in and sat down, and Gurudev, he turned to us that time and he said, oh, actually, you can come to see me anytime. He said, my door is always open for you. There can be no obstruction for you because you are my darling daughters, and therefore you can come anytime you like. So then, you know, when we heard that, we were so, at that time, Rajanapabu would come in the room and he also heard, and I was like, yeah. But anyway, but, you know, this is the mood that Gurudev came with, that this lokik sabandhuvat, that he was like always speaking to us in this mood, like very familial mood. And afterwards, you know, I thought about what that meant, and I thought, oh, what he's saying, what he's meaning is, he's saying, because, you know, it's not always that, you know, any time of the day we can go into Gurudev's room, you know, 24/7. It's not like that. But what was his inner meaning? So I thought, oh, he's saying, the door of my heart is always open to you. So you can come anytime. So like this, he said, there's no obstruction. Like this. So, you know, now Gurudev's physically departed, but actually this, what he said to us at that time, this is meant actually for all of us, because the door of Gurudev's heart is so big and broad, and it's open to each and every one of us. And certainly we can approach him at any time, any time of the day, any time of the night, every moment we can approach him. So like this, Gurudev was teaching us this mood like the Brijvasis. Then I'll just say one more. I don't know how much time I have left, but I'll just say.
Candrika Didi, you're over time.
Oh, really? Can I say one more? Is it possible? Okay.
So really quick.
Really quick. So another time we were staying in Govardhan, and Gurudev, maybe it was the time when it must have been the time when this Giridhari Gaudiya Mat was being built, and Gurudev was staying outside in one Dharmashala. So this one time he was sick, like sick Leela, and you know, no one was being allowed to see him. So Madhav Maharaj and Brajanath Guru, they were very strict. But at that time, we were arranging a drama, and I needed to ask Gurudev a question about the drama, you know, to make sure it was right, we get it right. So then I thought, oh, how is it possible, you know, no one's being allowed to see Gurudev? But I was thinking, oh, if only. Then that night I went to sleep, and Gurudev came into my dream, and I saw Gurudev, and I said, oh, Gurudev, oh, good. I've been wanting to ask you a question. And so then I asked this question, that exact question that I wanted to ask him about the drama, which way we should do like this. So then Gurudev gave this answer in the dream, but it wasn't quite the answer that I was expecting. I was thinking, oh, okay. And then, you know, dream ended. So I thought, I want to check really if this is for real, that this is the right answer. So then I went, that day, I went over to Gurudev's room, and I thought, somehow I've got to see him. That time I went, he was coming out of his room, and I thought, okay, I'm going to ask this question. Then I paid my pranams. I said, Gurudev, and I can't remember the question. I blurted out the question. And then Gurudev, he looked at me like knowingly, smiling. And it was like, wow, I could feel him telling me, well, I already gave you this answer. But anyway, he told me the exact same answer as in the dream. It was almost like word for word. And then afterwards I thought, oh, I'm so foolish. Why? He told me directly. I didn't have any faith in this, you know, and then I was like, oh, I started to get some understanding. Oh, who is Gurudev? I'm thinking, well, he's ordinary. So no, Gurudev, like Brijbasi, like Manjari, sometimes directly telling, sometimes indirectly through dreams, so many ways. So he's teaching us, training us in this Manjari Bhav, this Radha Dasham that he came to this world to give. So sorry I went over time. I'm really sorry for that. And I'm really thank you for giving me this opportunity to say something in remembrance of Gurudev. At the end of Kartik, so nice time remembering Gurudev throughout Kartik, how he would take us on Brajmandal Parikrama, like Sripad Tapavsi was saying. and this year in separation, but being given an opportunity to remember Gurudev, remember the pastime places. It's been also very sweet here in Germany. So anyway, Panchakalpadrubhyascha Kripasinnavevacha Patitanam Pavnebhyo Vaishnavibhyo Namo Namaha.
Thank you so much, Candrika Didi, for your beautiful Pushpanjali. Actually, it's really beautiful. A lot of devotees, when we're asking them to speak about something about Srila Gurudev, they go back to the first time that they met him. And there must be something so powerful in that first meeting. It's like, actually, I know what it is that Gurudev stole all of our hearts at that very first moment. And no one can ever forget something like that, because he's literally taken everything that we had in our hearts, and he's taken it on himself. And so I was remembering when I met Srila Gurudev, and I've spoken to many devotees about when they met Srila Gurudev, and it's the same kind of memory that no one will ever be able to kind of replace or take away from. And you were speaking about how, like, in Kartik, Gurudev would speak about this Bandhan Leela, and how Mother Yashoda had to be more loving towards Krishna. In the Dhammadashkam, Gurudev explains this, and it just reminded me of that verse, Yasya Deve Para Bhakti, Yasya Deve Para Guru. That that one that is qualified will see Guru and Krishna as non-different from each other. And it's that we're trying to do that with Gurudev, is trying to love him. Not that for me it's not possible, but to love him a little bit more, so that we can have that relationship with him. And there's so many things that I could speak about, but we're obviously running out a little bit of time. But thank you so much for sharing with us, and hopefully we'll bring you back and you'll be able to share some more memories with us. So thank you for taking time out to spend with us. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you to you, everyone.
You'll have to do it from Wales as well as Germany.
Yeah, I'd love to.
And I'll just add a very small thing, which is your Guru Nishta has always been a great example to me. So thank you.
I'm praying to have that Guru Nishta. So please bless
So
her.
our next speaker, she is, for some of us, she's our sister. For some of us, she's our mother. For some of us, she's our grandmother, or maybe auntie. And if she was a delicious prasadam, she would be the sweetest laddu. And I think we all know her. I can't wait to hear her contribution, her offering. Ashta, thank you so much for joining us. Ashta Sakti from Watford in England. We are so looking forward to hearing your nectar. Haribol. For some reason, we can't hear you though. We can see you, and your mouth is moving, but we can't hear you. What could that be?
Ashta Sakti Didi, is there next to the microphone at the bottom, does it say like connect over the internet? Is there any headphones connected to your device?
Doesn't have a microphone somehow.
He's speaking to the phone. Yashari, do you want to call her?
I don't have Didi's number.
I'll give you a number, because you're probably.
Do you want to go to the next speaker, Yashari, no problem, and then we get.
Yeah, that's a good idea. Let's go to the next speaker, and then I'll call Ashta. Okay. Okay. Ashta, we'll sort out the technicals, and you'll be on. Oh, but we got a problem, because the next speaker needed 10 minutes notice. So actually go to Nandini, and then we'll work backwards.
Okay. Okay, so I don't know if Nandini Didi, are you there?
I'm here.
Oh, good. Okay, so apologies for the technical difficulties that we're all facing right now. But I would like to introduce another god sister of ours that is super amazing. I love spending a lot of time with her. She spent many years with Srila Gurudev, and during the last pastimes with Srila Gurudev, she was there. And you know, every time I see her, I feel inspired to want to serve Srila Gurudev. I feel that she has this lovingness about her that makes me feel so comfortable around Srila Gurudev, that I feel like actually his daughter. And I'm so fortunate to have a god sister like her, and she's just super amazing, and anyone that's actually spent time with her would know that it's none other than our Nandini Didi. Haribol.
Haribol. Thank you, Yashadhari Didi. You're amazing sister too, and I just wanted to thank you and Yashodananda Prabhu, because these classes, as Bhakti Maharaja was saying before, they're so nourishing. It's like each week your heart just gets more and more nourished. I've been watching you on Facebook Live, and it even helps me to unlock my remembrance of Gurudev and unravel times that are revealed later on. So thank you so much. Just do my bananas. Om Gyane Timnam Jasyas Jakshura Surakaye Jakshurun Nitam Tasmai Shri Gurave Namo Namaha. Namo Vishnupadaya Radhikaye Piyatmaye Srimad Bhaktivedanta Narayanitti Namine. Namo Vishnupadaya Vishnupastaya Bhutare Srimad Bhaktivedanta Swamiti Namine. I offer my unlimited obeisances again and again, millions of times, to my beloved Srila Gurudev and to Srila Prabhupada, and to all Guru Parampara, to all the Vaisnavas that are here present today. I ask you to please forgive me if I make any mistakes, and to bestow your mercy on me. So, yeah, that was, it's, as I said before, it's been so amazing just to hearing these nourishing pastimes of Gurudev and listening to everybody's everyone's personal exchanges with Gurudev, and everyone's been touched by Gurudev in some way or another so deeply. And I see that through all of his disciples, anyone who's been connected with Gurudev. So it's been wonderful. So I have to start at the beginning, because I can't proceed without showing my gratitude towards our beloved Srila Prabhupada, because without his mercy, I wouldn't have even been able to come to Gurudev. Or we've heard Gurudev saying so many times, why have I come here? It's because of the order of your Srila Prabhupada. So growing up in ISKCON gave me so much refuge and shelter in every single way that I can think of. Growing up as a child, being able to read Srila Prabhupada's books and having a deep, profound, revelations from that, from reading the Science of Self-Realization to the Gita, Srimad Bhagavatam. In every way, it's given me shelter, even my senses, my eyes, seeing Thakurjis. I know Thakurjis see you through listening to classes, through Seva, through your whole body, and so many places there was being able to take shelter from, taking prasad, and everything was really, you'd see how the Srila Prabhupada disciples were. They had so much faith in Srila Prabhupada and the devotees there. So I just feel so grateful to Srila Prabhupada for giving us so many, just shelter from this world where it can be so mad and chaotic. So I met Srila Gurudev. I was in ISKCON Parikram. I was doing Parikram in Mayapur in Navadvip. And it was 2007 or 2008, and I was in ISKCON Parikram. I was in near the Samadhi of Gurudeva Babaji. So I was listening to like Harikatha there from ISKCON there, and then all of a sudden I turned around and then I saw Gurudev walk through. And this was my first meeting with him, and I could see he was only with 2 other like disciples. It must have been Madhav Maharaj at that time, and I don't know who else was there, but I remember first glancing and seeing this personality just walk in, and he was paying obeisances at Gurudeva Babaji's Samadhi. And I remember at that moment, it was so spontaneous within my heart that I just got up from the parikram and I was like, I know I need to pay obeisances to this personality. So I remember from afar just recognize, not even recognizing, something within me just led me there just to pay my pranams. So I remember paying my pranams to Gurudev from a distance. I was too scared to go up close. And then I went back to the parikram where I was sitting, and I just sat there. And then Gurudev came and he stood right in front of me. And he looked at everyone in the whole parikram for like a couple of minutes, and so intense. Like Gurudev was looking at every single person. And I know from that moment, my life just changed. And then again, after that, I carried on as normal in my daily life. And then I kept on meeting Shri Gurudev's disciples. And I'd never met any devotees like this. Because in my heart, I always wanted to love Guru. I knew that was in my heart so deeply, and I used to pray to Srila Prabhupada and Nityananda Prabhu, like, I want to find a Guru that I can give my love to, that I can just speak about, and just, I know I wanted to find a personality like that, like Srila Prabhupada. The way when you see, Srila Prabhupada disciples speak about Prabhupada, I wanted that mood. And I started meeting Shri Gurudev's disciples, and wow, I'd never met any devotees like this. They had so much love and affection for Gurudev. And when they were speaking, and I remember thinking, I want to be like this. I want to talk like this. I want to serve like this. I want this love. And then, yet there was such a synchronicity, just meeting one devotee after another. And then through mercy, I ended up going to Italy festival at that time. And it was, can't remember where it was, but it was Italy festival. And it was the most ecstatic festival I've ever seen or been to. And the Kirtan and people just crying out to Gurudev, like I'd never seen that. Like it was in such an amazing festival. I'd never seen any festival like that, and I had been to so many. And I remember at that time just feeling confused, like where to go in my life, because I had attachments here and I had attachments there. So I went with one of our beautiful god sisters, Radhika Didi. I said, I want to, could you come to Gurudev with me? And I wanted to ask a question. So I was like, okay, I need to ask this question. I needed guidance at that time. So I put my hands together and I said, Gurudev, please, can you give me guidance? Because just please give me guidance at this time. And Gurudev looked straight at me and he said, I'm always giving you guidance, always giving you guidance. And I didn't expect that answer. And then I realized, I was like, how does Gurudev even know me to even be giving me guidance? And it just made me realize we do not know how long this guru-disciple relationship has been. We don't know how long Gurudev's been in my life. Where it started, where it began, it's beyond my intellect. So something I think must have happened at that point where Gurudev said, I'm always guiding you. So when I came back to England, that was it. My heart had been captured and stolen, and it must have been put in Gurudev's pocket, because I decided to leave everything at that point, like where I was working and my house at that time, and I decided to go and spend time with Gurudev. I knew this was the most important thing in my whole life that I could be doing, is just go and spend time with Gurudev wherever you can, you know, any type of seva, just try and be there with the devotees. So I went to Vrindavan, and I didn't really know anybody, and I was thinking at that time, how am I going to do this? But it was Gurudev's words that really I could hold on to. So then I got to meet some of the disciples I'd met earlier, and it was really through their love and their affection, which I'd never experienced before ever, that they really encouraged me, and I got initiated in Seva Kunj, and there was a group of devotees that were going to South Africa for a tour, a 3-month tour for Gurudev. And they said, would you like to be part of it? And I was like, yeah, sure, I'll go. You know, it would be wonderful to go, and if I could do any seva, sure. So Gurudev was going to South Africa for the first time. And I was so new, I didn't know what was happening, but I just booked the ticket and went. And then it was a 3-month tour in South Africa, and I met so many devotees that hadn't even met Gurudev, but had been impacted so deeply. And this is what gets me the whole time. It's like how Gurudev really impacted and affected people to their real heart's core. So just meeting devotees I hadn't even sort of just heard of Gurudev and just been reading these books were completely captured. So during our tour, we got to do be able to meet so many disciples, Srila Gurudev's disciples. We got to arrange festivals. And as I said, Gurudev was the star of the show there. We made posters of Gurudev, and he was all around South Africa. Pictures saying, come to the festival. He was on radio stations on loop every hour. He was, there was television people that wanted to interview Gurudev. There was because we'd done lots of been distributing loads of leaflets, going to different temples, speaking about Gurudev. And I've got some leaflets here, I can just show you here. I don't know if you can see. It's so beautiful. These are all around South Africa. It says the Festival of Devotion, Srila Narayan Maharaj of Vrindavan, India, the foremost teacher of pure bhakti in the world today, will be visiting South Africa for the first time in January 2010. So this is another leaflet as well that we gave to all the devotees that came to the programs. And so it was a real rush up for when Gurudev was coming. There was a real anticipation. So when Gurudev finally came after the first month and a half of all these programs and being on the radio and all these things, Gurudev came to the airport, and I'd never seen anything like it. Like, there must have been over 100 people at the airport. And soon as Gurudev came out of the entrance of the airport, everyone, we just lost control, screamed and jumping, and there was popcorn thrown out. It was like the biggest, never seen anything like it. Like, even the guards were dancing, seeing Gurudev, and it was ecstatic, complete ecstasy. This is what I mean, like Gurudev, what he does to people's hearts at that, it says it takes one moment, and that is it. You're just gone. And yeah, this carried on for 5-10 minutes, the screaming. It wasn't just a short scream. It was ecstatic madness. It was beautiful. And I'd made a garland for Gurudev and I put it on him at the airport. And it's like the first time, it's like when you're in his presence, time just stood still. There was no definition of time. You're like a deer in headlights. Everything was slow motion, even in the screamings and the beautiful ecstasy that was there. So Gurudev came, and the first few classes he did in the halls that we did, completely packed, completely packed. And there was a prince that came to see Gurudev. It was such an ecstatic time when Gurudev was there, and he was so pleased. And that's what really, I think, really was incredible, was just seeing how Gurudev impacts everybody, even for a moment, seeing the security guards dancing to devotees who had been waiting for him, and the reciprocation between them. It was so beautiful. And yeah, this is pastimes that I wanted to share with Gurudev, because I was lucky enough and fortunate enough to be part of this tour. So for the mercy of Gurudev and all the Vaisnavas. So I didn't want to take too much time, but thank you.
That Nandini Didi was absolutely beautiful. You transported us to South Africa and into them festivals with Srila Gurudev, and it's like a rock star entering an arena, and I can just imagine Srila Gurudev. Yeah, I can just imagine it and see it and visualize it. And this is the thing, like, you were speaking earlier about Srila Prabhupada and how Srila Prabhupada disciples are, I actually pray my Dandavat Pranams to all of Srila Prabhupada disciples, because like you said, if they didn't do what they did, then Gurudev would never have come to this. And we're we're fortunate that Gurudev came in this way. And I just wanted to say, this is now it becomes our responsibility, like the Tapavsi Maharaj said, and this is like this running order, that now it's our responsibility to have that for Srila Gurudev. So when someone comes, they have that relationship and they pray. And I've seen it many times in the Ganga Matas, like someone would sit, new devotees would come and sit, and it's like Gurudev had this relationship with them. He was like, I know them. And these what would be seen as new disciples, shouldn't call them that, but they would come in and be like, I've seen him before, or I've spoken to him before, or there's this relationship that they had. And the Ganga Matas also do a fantastic job of building that relationship. But this is the beauty of Srila Gurudev. This is the beauty of any Sri Guru, is that the disciple embarks or embraces their qualities that they see. And last week I think it was that we were discussing that how you can see a sevak of Srila Gurudev because they have them qualities of Srila Gurudev in them, and that's what Gurudev gave us. He gave us his qualities that now we can show others, because when people meet Srila Gurudev disciples, they're like, I know you're a Srila Gurudev disciple. Actually, Vipin Prabhu was telling me the other day, he went to, I think, Varsana, and he was speaking some Harikatha there. And this Baba that has been living there looking after this temple, he came over and said, oh, are you a Narayana Maharaj disciple? And Vipin was like, how do you know that I'm Srila Narayana Maharaj's disciple? And he goes, only Srila Narayana Maharaj would speak like this in his books. So it's like Gurudev impacted so many people without even people that we don't even probably even heard of. So you've emphasized that in your Harikatha, and I'm so grateful that you did. So thank you so much, Didi.
Hey, Nandini, I just want to say, I don't want to embarrass you too much, but Madhavrat's just posted it anyhow. I've heard the blow-by-blow account of that tour many times from Sudevi and Kishori, and they test your courage tenacity, stamina, and bravery throughout that tour, because South Africa's a pretty I think it was quite a hair-raising trip. So you omitted all the things that glorified you, but I think it would be remiss not to mention that. Madhurat's come up on screen, so I've got a feeling he wants to add to that.
No, I just put in my comment that you did so much service, and it was quite austere as well, from what I can remember. Quite a lot of austerities to actually. You made it all sound like wonderfully ecstatic, and it probably was. But I know there was, you underwent many hardships in that service for Gurudev. So, and the end result was amazing. It was really an amazing tour.
It was so amazing just being part of the tour. I was just happy, so happy to be just included, that everything, because Gurudev would just shine everything, any austerities didn't even feel like it for me.
You guys had an armed guard with you the whole time, right?
It was an adventure, it was an adventure.
I had a gun and hand grenade in his backpack, following them around.
Okay, let's see if we thank you, Nandini. Haribol, Dandavat. So my heart is literally leaping over to Watford, hoping that the internet will be merciful to us. Can we hear? We can see her, we can feel her, but can we hear her? Oh no! Oh.
No, we can't hear.
No. Okay, Ashta, we're not going to give up. Ashta, oh, what's she doing now? No. Ashta, I'll call you. We're going to go to America now.
She's muted.
You showed her. She's.
Oh no, she's not.
No, but she was muted. She was unmuted before, and we couldn't hear her. Say something, Ashta. No, there's a technical problem. Ashta, stay with it. We haven't given up, but we'll come back to you last. Thanks, bro. Okay, so going over to Rhode Island is our dear god sister. I'm very fortunate to recently make her my sister, my friend, in the last, as a result of these Zoom calls, we've ended up reading together. Srimati Madhuri Devi from Rhode Island. I'm very interested to hear her offering today, because she has very interesting insights on Krishna consciousness and a very intuitive and very heartly approach to Krishna consciousness. So I'm very excited to present you Srimati Madhuri Devi Dasi Didi, rather, from Rhode Island in America. Haribol Didi, thank you for coming in. Thank you for making an offering.
Haribol, does this work? Can you hear me?
Perfectly, perfectly.
Excellent.
Now we're gonna, so we'll work out how.
Now I can't hear you, Yashoda Prabhu.
We'll now work out how to work out Ashta, and everyone will listen to you. Haribol.
So first, before I do my pranams, I want to say I'm sitting in my car because my power went out this morning. Gurudev makes things a little bit extra difficult. And so if you hear a roar in the background, that's the electric company vehicles. This is the only way I can talk to you, is on my hotspot. So, Om Gyana Timirandasya Gyananjanashlakaya. Haribol? Oh, you're talking. I'm sorry, I can't hear you. Are you talking or am I talking?
That, but he was on mute by accident. Did he carry on?
Oh, okay. Om Gyana Timirandasya Gyananjanashlakaya Chakshur Militam Jena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Gurave Gaurachandraya Radhikaya Tadalaye Krishnaya Krishna Bhaktaya Tadabhaktaya Namaha. I offer my heart unlimited times in the dust of the lotus feet of my most beloved Gurudev, Nityalila Pravishtam Vishnupad Astotara Srimad Bhaktivedanta Narayan Goswami Maharaj. So I didn't think I'd get all teared up, but I'm going to anyway. So I've listened to all of you guys for so long, and it is so touching because I had so little physical association with Srila Gurudev, but I'll share what I did. And I'll share some of my impressions of what I've gotten through this process, if I have the wherewithal to do so. So I don't call him Srila Gurudev, I call him my beloved, because I know him as my heart, and I know him as my mother, and I know him as my best friend. And it's hard to say all that because I couldn't tell you possibly why. It's just that I'm fragile, I'm not very trusting. I find it very, very hard to interact in such a way that doesn't blow up because the material energy is just so heavy. And Gurudev is my backstop. He's the only one who makes it possible for me to stay present with what's here. So I had a perfectly mundane life. I had a business, I had lots of friends, I was always busy, I was engaged in general material karma, and I wasn't satisfied. And I went through a relationship that broke up, and I learned that I needed to find my heart and I needed to learn to breathe. So I did some breath work and went on a sort of spiritual journey, and I had never meditated. So the first time I meditated, I made a prayer and I said, please take me and use me as a vessel for love, compassion, and service. The second time I meditated, I saw Amachi and Babaji and Krishna. It was that Amachi was my mother, Babaji was my father, and Krishna was my beloved. And I didn't know who Krishna was. And I only knew Amma because I had made association of some of her disciples. And I'm very thankful for her because she gave me shelter and took me from a raw enough place so that I could become service-minded. So I came to Gurudev through the mercy of Nimai Chaitanya Prabhu, because I had met him at a gathering. I had been told that I should come to this Bhakti Yoga event because Bhakti Yoga was the yoga of love. And I met a sadhu there, his name was Shamdas. And some of you may have seen him on the platform in Govardhan, because he gave glorification for Gurudev when Gurudev was in his sickness pastimes. At any rate, I had met him at this event and heard my first Leela there, and Nimai Chaitanya invited me to, at a later date, to his office for a Kirtan. And I came there, and in the association of the people I'd been with, they all talked about realization, mukti, enlightenment. That was their end goal. And I thought, I must be really dead inside. I must be really numb because I can't feel anything. I couldn't feel anything at all. But I came to Nimai Chaitanya's and I met Tridandi Maharaj there. And he said the word that sparked my heart. He said, relationship. And when he said relationship, every little cell in my body just jumped up and started dancing. So I wasn't deemed qualified at that time to come to Gurudev. I was told I needed to study first. So I started studying with Nimai Chaitanya and his small group, Jaiva Dharma. And the following year, Sajjan Maharaj came to the sort of small Boston Sangha. And he wears his heart so openly. I mean, I have so much love for Sajjan Maharaj because he always seems to be weeping. There's always just this stunned look in his eye and this place where his heart just bleeds from him. His love for Gurudev just bleeds from him. So he said, yes, come to Srila Gurudev. And I tried. And I've learned that, at least on my path, everything requires extra work. Everything means I have to push back. I couldn't get there. I had a plane ticket, but I couldn't connect with my Sangha. I couldn't find a place to stay. I was afraid to go alone. And Sajjan Maharaj said the pure Maya, the material energy, doesn't want us to have the association of the pure devotee. And then he gave me instruction. I changed my ticket. I got on a plane. I had nowhere to go, nowhere to stay, no one to get me from the airport. And Gurudev took care of everything. I was there. They found me home of some people living there in Houston. They were Indian devotees. They introduced me to Thakurji. They gave me the master bed. They brought me to the yagya and found me a seat right next to Gurudev. And they gave me so much mercy. And Gurudev, I did not grow up with any discipline whatsoever. And I grew up meeting people all over the world from all walks of life because I was just so eager and willing and interested in meeting people. So when I came to Srila Gurudev, first I thought, well, I've never paid respects to anyone. I'm not going to pay respects to him. And I was out in the parking lot in Houston, and all the way across the parking lot, across the hot tarmac, some individuals got out of a car, and Gurudev was among them. And when he came close, I was on the ground because my heart just burst open. And I remember thinking that here's what looks to be a frail elderly man, because this was 2009, a frail elderly man. But what I saw was the only material that I knew of to refer to was Kevlar, which is stronger than steel. It's lighter than steel and it's stronger than steel. And it was like this beam that just came all the way from heaven and went all the way through Srila Gurudev and all the way down to the center of the earth. And it was both a cord and an anchor and a strand of just extraordinary beauty. And that was Srila Gurudev. And then I had awe because I thought, there's no way I even deserve to take this association. So Gurudev playing with me, as he often does, as I said, he makes things harder. I'm sitting in my car with my hotspot because I have no power. I listened to the Leela and I saw Gurudev, and then I went out on Harinam with a bunch of his disciples, and I'd never gone on Harinam. I'd never met Thakurji before. I'd never had any association with Vaisnavas except with Sajjan Maharaj and Tridandi Maharaj. I didn't know what ISKCON was. I didn't know what a Sampradaya was. I didn't know any of that. But I went out on Harinam, and they were all young devotees from Alachua. And they decided not to come back. We couldn't find the vehicle afterwards. And they decided not to come back. And they wanted to go to Krishna culture and buy Shringar for their deities. And I stood in the parking lot and I wailed and wailed and wailed and wailed and wailed because all I wanted was to get back to Gurudev. So because of that and the challenges that I had, because there was some miscommunication and stuff, I didn't get all the association I wanted. I did get Shamarani Didi's mercy. She walked me around. She took my wrist and walked me around for 3 hours, which was beautiful. And so I didn't feel qualified for Harinam. So I had talked to Shamala Didi, and she said, well, then you shouldn't take it. And it was Srila Gurudev just making a challenge for me because tears started pouring out.
There's some interference there. You may want to be careful what you're moving. We're getting interference on the line.
So wait a minute, say that again.
There's some interference on the line, like some scratching or some paper or something moving around. Just need to be aware of that.
Oh, okay, that might have been my piece of paper. Thank you. So I cried, and Srila Gurudev gave me Harinam in a room with half a dozen other people. And then I went to him and I asked him if I could follow him to Italy, and he said yes. So I went to Italy, and I wouldn't have gone to Italy maybe if it hadn't been for all of the challenges it took me to get to him, and all of the challenges I had with my own small Sangha. So I went to Srila Gurudev in Italy, and here's where I said I had no discipline, I had no awe and reverence, I didn't know anything at all when I came to Srila Gurudev. I had just come from India, from Harikan Vishwa Mahadam, which is a Shiva ashram. And I had climbed Mount Kailash there. And when I met Srila Gurudev, his energy was like the energy of Mount Kailash. It was this ultimate stillness and required complete attention. And if you were distracted at all, you would fall down the mountain. So that was Srila Gurudev for me. And so I was in Italy, and I had remembered that when I had been in India, if one wanted to give dakshin, if one wanted to give an offering, the gurus, they don't take money in their hands. So I knew no better, and I did what I had done with the pujaris in India, is I took the money that I had, and I walked up to Gurudev, and he was alone. And there was nobody looking except Sajjan Maharaj. And I put money in Gurudev's pockets. And he took his arm and he brought his arm out about 3 feet and he whacked me across the head. And it was the second time this had happened. It was the first time with Srila Gurudev. Things usually come in threes, so I'm still waiting for my third. But Sajjan Maharaj was watching, and I'm so fortunate because he gave the biggest thumbs up, because I'm that much of a blockhead that in order for anything to get through my head, I need that extra special mercy. So much of what came to me of Srila Gurudev came after he left his manifest pastimes. He held me. He held me. I know for the first year I looked through pictures every day. I looked through pictures, and I saw him with all of his disciples out in the water, swimming and playing and laughter. And there was just love that radiated from it. And I felt that after he left his manifest pastimes, I got his full association, because that love just radiated. I mean, it's as though he gave me a piece of every disciple's heart. It was so, 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 so sweet. And then I went into grief, and I didn't know that I was grieving. And so he's here. Every time I start to fall off the edge, he sends me reminders. If I have fear or anger or give me 1 moment. Yes.
Awesome.
Thank you. Thank you. My power just came back on. That was the electric company. Every time I have fear or anger or loss or grief or any of those things, and my body tightens up, I remember Srila Gurudev. And now he's giving me, he gave me his heart, and now he's giving me his teachings. It's as though I've needed all of these years to wander. I had 5 years without association. For some reason, I fell off the grid. I fell out of the means to be with him. I just fell completely out. And, you know, when you fall out, I mean, when you're with Amma and Babaji and there's all this association and everything is magical and magical things keep happening, you think, oh, this is the ultimate. And then you come to Srila Gurudev and you realize that he owns your heart, and he's going to make you work for everything you get. And when you work, the reward is so many times greater, and it's unlimited, and it is that river of love. I mean, when I had been in India, I touched the river of love in Harikan. I had the experience of feeling the actual particles of love come from the padakas, the guru's sandals. And I had felt what that felt like. And for years I had that experience. And then I came to Srila Gurudev, and it all culminated in his heart. and there was no place else to go. So my mother is an actress. I'm a little extra dramatic. I need good guidance. I take my guidance from you guys. I take my guidance from Chaitanya Maharaj. I give my heart to Bhaktivedanta Maharaj because his love is so sweet. I see Gurudev's heart in all of you. The one vestige that I have from the time that I used to go to India prior to coming to Kartik is that I can feel people's hearts, and I can feel when Gurudev is speaking directly from them. So I remember going to, am I out of time or am I okay? I can't hear you.
You got three more minutes or so, Didi.
Going to New Braj after Srila Gurudev left and hearing the devotees speak of Srila Gurudev was some of the sweetest and deepest connection that I felt. When Brajanath Prabhu came and spoke, this was just the year after Srila Gurudev left his manifest pastimes. When Brajanath Prabhu spoke, Gurudev just permeated the entire space. It's not something you find with your intellect, it's something you find with your heart. I have a life that was dedicated to intellect. I have always had ease with those things, and I've had a sheltered heart because I was told that when my mother passed, she took my heart for safekeeping. And so Gurudev brought me back my heart. And that heart is what allows me to stay on this path. It allows me to come into the association because in the mundane world, I'm considered intelligent. In the association of Vaisnavas, I'm not even a neophyte. I'm not even qualified to have the association on these calls. But I also have to remember that Srila Gurudev confers that qualification. He is, you know, everyone says Hare Krishna, everyone talks about Krishna, and I don't know who Krishna is. All I see is Gurudev. All I see is that if I cleave to that, if I make him mine, if I remember him always, then I am in this eternal thread, and there's a place for me at the end of it somewhere. But the journey in itself is everything I need and want. So I'm going to end at that. Vachakalpatrubhyascha kripa sindubhya evacha patitanam pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo.
Thank you, Didi. I'm so glad that the power and everything stayed on. There was no relapse. I knew that your offering would be a very deeply personal and very sensitive one, and I'm so happy that you stepped forward to make the offering. Every crackle in your voice felt like it permeated with like Gurudev's lightning bolt of love coming through. That's how it felt. A very deeply personal experience. So thank you so much for sharing with us.
Can I just add one thing? That I just want to say that it doesn't matter the time of association. You can see Srila Gurudev has done what he's needed to do for you, and there's nothing more than that. And you know, Gurudev comes at it. Radhika Didi told me this one thing, and it's always stuck by me, that Gurudev comes at the appropriate time for every devotee. So some need more, some need less, some have more ability to serve. Whatever it is, he comes at the right time, and you have got Gurudev's heart with you, and you can hear it. So always remember that, and then keep me under association so that I can also serve Srila Gurudev. Thank you, Didi. Thank you so much. It was beautiful.
So I'm not sure if we're 3 times lucky, 5 times lucky, or 7 times lucky.
Yeah. Can you hear me? I'm
Well done, Yoshinari.
Oh, let's start quick.
Go for it. I'm not even going to introduce. Just do it. Go for it. You're out of the...
Okay.
Ashta Sakti, Haribol.
Mirandasya Gyananjana Salakaya Chashu Samalitam Yenam Tasmai Aishi Guruve Namaha. Guruve Gaurachandraya Radhikaya Saradaya Krishnaya Krishna Bhaktaya Tab Bhaktaya Namo Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobhistam Shri Hapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swa Padantikam Tavavasmi Na Jivami Tayavina Iti Vignaya Devaya Tvam Nayamam Charanantikam. Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prastaya Bhutale Srimati Bhaktivedanta Swami Iti Namane Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pacharane Navanshe Shusanavadi Paskachai Deshatane Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Radhikaya Pyatmane Shri Bhaktivedanta Narayan Goswami Iti Namane. I'd like to thank the Bhakti Seva team. I'd like to thank my dear Shishoda to get me computer literate to get on this Zoom. Thank you. You've got my heart. I'd like to thank all the speakers today, Maharaj, Caru, and the other girls are absolutely beautiful, very heart-rendering. And today I'm going to talk very quickly about Srila Prabhupada and Srila Narayan Maharaj. Srila Prabhupada, my Diksha Guru, and Narayan Maharaj, my Shiksha Guru, and they are of one heart, and I cannot separate them ever. And I want to first talk about Srila Prabhupada. I'd like the Sangha, our Gaudiya Mat Sangha, to try and change its tone from whenever we say that Srila Prabhupada did not have time to give us everything. We make a statement there that goes directly into the hearts of all those devotees practicing under ISKCON that can pain them, because we're actually maybe stating that there's something wrong that Srila Prabhupada didn't do. Can those devotees in ISKCON, with what Srila Prabhupada has given so far, arise at their destination at Radha Dasyam? And I believe they can. Not only can they, I've actually seen some of my ISKCON sannyasis actually where their hearts have been totally flooded from the heart of Srila Prabhupada, and they're receiving everything. So yes, whatever ISKCON has received from Srila Prabhupada, they can reach the highest destination. Now, Srila Prabhupada asked Narayan Maharaj to please come to the West and help his disciples. And quite often within ISKCON, some of the disciples never accepted him. But Narayan Maharaj, Gurudev, has magnanimously never ever faltered from giving all of Srila Prabhupada's disciples, despite that, his love, his affection, and his forgiveness. So when Narayan Maharaj and Srila Prabhupada's heart, the ISKCON devotees, with what they have, and if they surrender to Srila Prabhupada, can reach the highest destination, you know, by surrendering to Guru. Now, Srila Narayan Maharaj, I am very lucky, came to my home 4 times. 3 times he stayed. And one time while he was here, he sat where I am sitting right now. And I was at his feet, and I was at his feet with Renuka, one of his disciples. And Srila Rai Maharaj said to me, he looked at me and I didn't understand it right then. He said, he looked at the picture. I'll just turn you around. You can see this beautiful picture. You see it. I hope you saw it. Srila Rai Maharaj looked at that picture and he said, I like to remember Swamiji in this mood, very relaxed, because when we were in Radha Damodar, this is the mood that Srila Prabhupada and I, we had many talks, and this is where we had many exchanges, and this is how I remember Swamiji. He always called him Swamiji. And then he looked at me and he said, in the future, some devotees will tell you that Swamiji is not of the highest nature, that he could be a cowherd boy. And he said, no, 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 no. Swamiji is like his Gurudev, of the highest. He is like Keshipa Maharaj. He is like the Parampara, the Goswamis. He is of the highest nature. And he said, you must remember this. He said, our hearts are one. Our goals are the same. We are in that situation. We are placed like that. Now, those were not exactly the words, but that was the whole understanding of that. Because if we understand that Srila Prabhupada is of that nature, of the highest, and what he has delivered in ISKCON is complete. It is complete. And if those devotees, even regardless whether they made offenses to Narayan Maharaj, who, by the way, always forgave them, he never ever, and they then remain sincere to Srila Prabhupada, then I have witnessed that their hearts have been flooded with everything, even of the highest. But Gurudev, he came and he took disciples from Srila Prabhupada that it was our fault that we hadn't received the highest. Not Srila Prabhupada hadn't given us everything. It was us that hadn't understood anything properly. Narayan Maharaj came as a teacher, and he was very profound in his message of helping us to understand our goal, our complete and utter goal. And he gave us the verse, one of the first verses that he gave us, Anyavilasitam, Anyavilasitam Sanyam, to fully meditate on and to go deeper. And then Srila Narayan Maharaj, Gurudev, he took us, Prabhupada's disciples, step by step, opening up the Goswami's messages completely. Rupa Goswami, Raghunath Goswami, Sanatana Goswami. And he opened everything up for us. Not that it isn't in Srila Prabhupada's books, of course it is. But I feel that I myself was probably Srila Prabhupada's most fallen disciple. And Narayan Maharaj came and he helped me in such an incredible way. He gave me the goal. He made me understand the moods of everybody, the moods of the Goswamis, the moods of my Parampara, the mood of Srila Prabhupada. Only a Mahabhagavat can help you to understand another Mahabhagavat. And Narayan Maharaj, Gurudev, he helped me to understand who Srila Prabhupada is and was and is today. He and also they are one in heart, they are one in goal, but they are very different personalities, very, very different. the way Srila Prabhupada came in the very beginning. I became the, I won't go into how I joined, there are books written about it, but I got a service in very place in the early 72, looking after Srimati Radharani on the altar. And Srila Prabhupada instructed me with so much love on how to take care of her. He made a relationship, and for me, with Srimati Radharani to take care of, as my, she was my goal in life. And everything that Srila Prabhupada taught me was for that mood. Now, when Narayan Maharaj came and explained absolutely everything, I mean, in ABC language, because that's the only way I could understand everything, because when I joined ISKCON, we were so busy building temples, making devotees, selling books. We didn't have much time to do the studying and the deep understanding of what the goal was and to be focused. But Narayan Maharaj, he came with this specific intention of making us totally focused on how to become a Radhadasyam, this maidservant of Srimati Radharani. And we've heard about from Caru and the other devotees, the incredible, and during Karti, how we would all go. And I asked first, on my first time in Karti with Gurudev, how do I pray? He said, you go to the Dham in every single place. He said, you throw yourself on the floor in the Dham and you beg for mercy. You beg with all your heart that you can receive that mercy. And he said, and then you come to me at the end of Kartik, and I will tell you whether you have been successful. So each year, every time I ended Kartik, then Gurudev would either yes, or you'd have to do a bit more, especially to Nakunja Vasini, if she was with me. Oh, he would go, yes, you've done enough. And then he'd look at Nakunja and say, oh, you've got to do a bit more. But each year when I would ask him this question, each year it would change. First it was to surrender and beg for mercy. And then he would, and then he would say, now you ask for that pastime to roll in your heart with that mercy. He said, you beg and you pray for it. And then towards the last time before Narayan Maharaj Gurudev, he left the planet, he told me, you go to that place and you beg to become the follower and Dasyam of Radharani, of Srimati Radhika. He said, you pray and you fall on the floor and you beg with all your heart. He said, Vrinda Devi can give this, he said, Vrinda Tulsi Devi can give you this. Vrinda Devi can give you this when you go to that place. Giri Govardhan, he can give you this. He said, and you pray with this mood in all those places. And we've been hearing about love and the love of Radha and Krishna, and the love that we need to serve our Gurudev, and the love that we need to serve each other, and the love that we need to reciprocate with each other in this very hard times, and it could get a lot worse than this. We're going to have to come together, especially in communities like what the Ganga Matas are doing. We may need land, we may need to live together. Srila Prabhupada was very determined at the end of his life that we start this program, and talking to Gurudev about certain things. He didn't want to leave us at the very end. He wanted to be with us during this time. because he knew it's a time of big change, and how can our Bhakti and our Krishna consciousness, and how can our Sankirtan movement completely go on? We cannot accept the restrictions totally of not chanting on the streets, of not going out there and putting the holy name everywhere and giving out our books. We can do it online in this new format as well, and it can go everywhere, but we still need to be determined to go out there and purify the land out there and people's hearts. But to have this love, you do understand that the love between Radha and Krishna is what we experience in love in the real world. It's very changed and very come through all the layers, but that is our love. Krishna, we were brought here in love. Everything that has been given to us has been in love from Krishna. Our Guru, and without Radharani, we would not have our Guru, we would not know how to reciprocate in that love. It's not that we have to separately endeavor. We have to separately endeavor in our bhakti, in our practices, in our sadhana and bhajan, in our reading. But we have to be very grateful at every second of our life, because everything that's been given to us has been given to us in love. Krishna loves us. Srimati Radhika absolutely loves us. That love is already there, involved in our lives. And why can't we feel it? Because we're selfish. We are full of anarthas. But did that stop Gurudev from giving us the truth and how to feel that love? No. He gave us everything because he said it's not dependent on anarthas. It's dependent on your willpower, on your desire to really, really want it, to really want to feel that love. To feel that love means to give that love. So how do you feel love? And how do you stop being selfish? You have to become very, very grateful. Absolutely grateful at every moment, and understand that you are not the doer. You are maybe 10% or 1% the doer. Everything else is being done for you by Guru, and it's all any achievements is because Guru has allowed it to come, and you're grateful. You're so grateful. And by being grateful, by being sincere, by accepting all that is being given to you, you may feel that love from Srimati Radhika and Krishna. Now that's the difference between opening your heart and you showering love. Krishna, just think, we are minute entities. Our soul is so small, and yet the power of love is so immense. Even when we touch just a little bit, like the devotee before, it just explodes your heart. It explodes. It's not just that you are artificially trying to give that love. That love already exists. It's about learning how to feel that love, how to worship it, how to be grateful for it, and how to serve with that affection to keep that love there. And those, that is by allowing Guru's heart to come into your heart. When you bow down in those places and you're asking with all your sentiments, with all your heart, please, please make me that resident, please. When you open the Srimad Bhagavatam, when you open the Bhagavad Gita, when you open the Gopi Gita, or when you open any books of Srila Prabhupada, Srila Narayan Maharaj, what are we doing? We're asking, we're begging for Guru to please open our hearts. Let us feel their love. Let us be able to serve that love. Let us become one in heart with you. And by doing this, we will achieve our goal. We will become a Radhidasian. But we have to be very careful at every step. We must remember that the devotees in ISKCON are trying extremely hard, and the devotees in Gaudiya Mat and other mats are trying extremely hard. We mustn't try to hurt their hearts by saying that maybe Srila Prabhupada didn't have enough time to give us absolutely everything. When in the time that he came, it was perfect. He actually gave us everything. It's us that weren't ready for everything. We didn't, and some of us, most of us, needed extra help from Gurudev and from all his sannyasis and people that have left. And in this way, we can avoid making big mistakes and upsetting people's hearts, which is so bad for our bhakti, by loving everybody and being careful to their needs. And this is what will bring about a wonderful Sangha here and a family where we need to have exchanges that was mentioned before, inspirational exchanges, where we can learn from each other's practicing bhakti of things that we should do, shouldn't do, to avoid any mistakes, so that we can be on this incredible road and receive all this love that is already in place for us and is already to share amongst us. I like to thank everybody. Vanchakalpa Tarubhischa Kripa Sindhu Evacha Patitanam Pananevio Vaishnavevio Namo Namaha. I'd like to thank all my sisters, wherever you are in the world, Nandini down and Vrindavan Vilasini, Uma Didi, Shamarani, Didi, everybody, Kamala, Sita, Caru, Jagatam, Yashashwini, all my sisters, my deepest love and prayers that we will all be successful in this world. We will all meet again in the real world. And to all my wonderful sannyasis, my god brothers and all my brothers, please, you have all my love and my best wishes, my prayers. Thank you so much, everybody. Please pray for me. Thank you.
Didi, that was absolutely beautiful, and you touched some subjects that were closest to my heart, which is the unity between Prabhupada and Gurudev, and the fact that we owe so much to ISKCON, and we owe so much to the Prabhupada disciples. We owe everything to the Prabhupada disciples. If it wasn't for all of you Prabhupada disciples, then I wouldn't even have probably heard of the Bhagavad Gita, let alone Srila Gurudev. And we're building a beautiful world from Mahaprabhu's mercy, flowing through the Parampara, flowing through Prabhupada, flowing through Gurudev. And Gurudev said we're all ISKCON. He wasn't teaching any separation with ISKCON at all. He was teaching complete unity. Yeah.
ISKCON is the devotees in ISKCON have made mistakes. I have made mistakes. You all have. There is not a soul amongst us that can stand there and say we haven't made mistakes.
Yes.
But the wonderful thing about Gurudev, even when mistakes were made against him, he was full of compassion and mercy, and he never, ever, ever stopped giving it. And especially to those devotees, and those devotees that stayed with Srila Prabhupada and sincerely practiced, I have personally witnessed their hearts being flooded with everything from Guru. So to say that maybe in ISKCON, if you're following with the books and everything and like that, that you may not receive everything. Of course you could receive everything. That is how potent Srila Prabhupada is.
Yeah.
Now Narayan Maharaj, he you know, for me and for all the lucky disciples, he's spelt an ABC on how to do everything. Not saying that we will get there any quicker than anybody else in ISKCON, but what Narayan Maharaj has done for us is you know, unprecedented too.
Yeah.
And
yeah.
It's very important to know all of this and to not make the mistake of thinking that we are in any way superior to anybody else practicing on this process. Because, you know, Guru in the heart, and especially a Guru of a Satguru like Srila Prabhupada and Srila Narayan Maharaj, you don't get anywhere unless you're so surrendered, their heart comes into you. So even if we know all the books, see, if we know all the philosophy, but we don't have their hearts flowing into us, then we are stumped in this life. So we have to be very careful, you know. So I as I'm older, I can see all of this, and that's all I have to my credit is I have a little bit of wisdom. And I'm hoping I've got enough humility to take shelter from all the devotees who are practicing so well to give me their help when I need it. Thank you.
Srila Prabhupada definitely gave you the right name, Ashtasaki.
Yeah. There's
So,
a lovely story.
Thank you so much. Yashoda, did you want to say anything to Ashtasaki?
All I want to say is, Asashakti, that we're like Yashoda Prabhu said, that we're so grateful. I can only speak for myself, but I'm sure that the other Srila Gurudev disciples can say the same, is that we're, especially for the West, is that we're so fortunate to have such Srila Prabhupada disciples with us that are guiding us. Because if you didn't, then any of you didn't, then we would be really stuck. Actually, we wouldn't even understand what Srila Gurudev came to give. So it's like a reciprocation of the two, and we're so fortunate that actually you guys give us the platform to be able to understand Srila Gurudev and his Vani. And like you said, they're non-different from each other. You can't see them apart. And anyone that's...
No,
we're your baby cows, you know?
Yeah, don't forget us.
We're your baby cows.
Don't forget us in your prayers, Ashta Didi, because I definitely need it. So please keep me in your prayers whenever you speak to Srila Gurudev or Srila Prabhupada, that they also penetrate their mercy onto me. So thank you.
So I want to say a big thank you to the internet for giving us Sripad, Bhaktivedanta, Tapavsi Maharaj, and Srimati Ashtasaki, two offerings that nearly went off the rails that somehow managed to happen, which was amazing. And thank you so much, Srimati Caru Candrika Didi, for her beautiful offering, and Srimati Madhuri Devi Didi from the United States, your very personal offering, and the glories of all the of Srimati Nandini's Didi's endeavors in South Africa, which are very colorful. There could be a whole book printed on that one. So it's been a beautiful session, reminding everybody who wants to celebrate the last day of Kartik. We're back on at 6 o'clock for the final day of Kartik, outside of India anyhow, where Srimati, I keep on calling her Srimati Radharani, but her name is Srimati Shamarani Didi, will be speaking on the last day of Kartik. It will be the crescendo, it will be the volcanic mountaintop of our Kartik Vrat. So please come, and thank you for all your Shravan, for your participation, and we'll see you next week for the 10th rendition. And Balabhadra, yes, we will do 64. That's a great idea.
And then, sorry, Yashodhananda Prabhu, can I just add one more thing? Yes, Balabhadra Prabhu's got a program that he's running. He's just going to quickly speak about it. And then if we can get, I think Radhika Didi, if she's there, to end our class, that'd be great, if that's okay.
Yeah, and I'm going to go around the back and see if I can get a peek of Gurudev's Murti for everybody.
Perfect. So whilst you're doing that, Balabhadra Prabhu, if you just take a couple of minutes.
Can you hear? Can everybody hear?
Yeah.
Yeah, we can.
Okay. So I posted this in the chat, quote by Srila Gurudev. We should try to understand the suffering of another person. We should try to keep our own mood concealed and try to accept and hear the other person's mood. We should try to understand the happiness and distress of another. We should give up our own moods and hear the other person's moods. Then together we consider what to do. If we do not hear the other person's mood, rather keep our own mood prominent, this is not called association. And so I'm beating myself over the head with this teaching every day if possible. I should be doing it every second or every microsecond, but I'm not, because this is actually how I learned to be a therapist. This is called empathy. This is like the literal definition. In fact, this should be the dictionary definition of empathy, because Gurudev has described it here so succinctly. And Ashta Sakhi Didi's heart has expressed a very similar mood in this regard, because ISKCON have a particular mood and a particular suffering that they perhaps are experiencing right now. And I feel that I have not really given myself a chance to hear that. And I don't feel that we've been given a chance to express our suffering or my suffering to any extent, because that doesn't really get given a space much, I feel. And I work with clients every day who are suffering so much, and the fact that they have somewhere that they can come and express themselves to somebody who's just going to listen to them and give up, at least attempt to give up my own mood in order to hear these people, especially children who I work with now, is a very magical space. So I'm running a support group, Hare Krishna devotee support group, every Monday at 11:30. And the model is this statement. All it's there for is to allow devotees to come and express their heart, whether it's about material things that they're struggling with, material aspirations, spiritual aspirations, emotional, psychological, anything. And the idea is everyone in the group gives up their mood at that moment when that one person is speaking. And when we respond, we don't tell them how they should or shouldn't do in response. We just express that we've heard them. And I try to express to them how much I've heard them and how much I understand, or I'm trying to understand them. And then I hope that that means that I will eventually be able to actually understand them. Because if I understand them, I can understand the heart of my Srila Gurudev much, much deeper, because they carry Gurudev in their heart. So this support group is every Monday. Anyone is welcome to come along. It's at 11:30 on Zoom. Sadly, it's a free Zoom call, so we connect for 40 minutes and drop out and reconnect in again. I've been running it for the past 6 or so weeks now, and I intend to run it in person once this weird whatever's going on right now. I don't know what's going on, but it's not normal. It's definitely not the new normal that I want. You know, the new normal that I want? The new normal that I want is Mahaprabhu's movement spread across the towns and the villages and the cities of the world, visibly for everyone to see. This is the new normal. This is the real normal, because this is normal. That is the situation we're in now is not. And so this is what, and we're doing that. Here Gurudev is manifesting. We're doing that every Saturday as well for the Harinam, so I'm making 2 announcements. And there's a program every Friday, it's kind of secret because of the situation, with the youth. And I was there yesterday, and Yashashwini Mataji was there. It was like coming home. I walked in, it was like electric, most beautiful. What they're doing is phenomenal. So there's these 3 things, and that's my brief announcement. Vanchakapa Tarubhascha Kripas Nuve Evacha Patitanam Pavanabhyo Vaisnavyo Namo Namaha. And this what is being done here is phenomenal, and it's incredibly inspiring. So thank you for everyone involved in it. Your you're putting Gurudev's heart into the heart of the internet. Now the internet is being purified. Hare Krishna.
Thank you so much, Balabarja Prabhu. Just want to say thank you to all the wonderful devotees that have spoken today. We're feeling really fortunate. And I don't know if you can see Yashodananda Prabhu's video at the moment, but you'll be able to see Srila Gurudev somehow. Tarun, if you turn Yashodananda Prabhu's camera around, you will probably be able to see Srila Gurudev.
It's on his laptop.
Oh, okay. Oh,
Right, shall I
but you
put
can
it on
see
my
him.
phone?
Yeah. No, it's okay. Are you on your phone on this?
Yeah, I am.
Yeah. Come and join on that. But you can see Srila Gurudev there. He's very, very powerful. And this Srila Gurudev is the original Srila Gurudev that was on Gurudev Samadhi, the first one. So this is the actual original one that is now come to the UK. So Jai Srila Gurudev. And if you look on Tarun Prabhu's phone, you'll be able to see it better. It's his Theo's iPhone. So Radhika Didi, if you could close our program with Kirtan, that would be wonderful. Thank you.
Prabhupada ki jai, Guru Parampara ki jai, Gopamanande Hari Bol. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Rama Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Rama Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Jaya Gurudeva, Jaya Gurudeva, Jaya Gurudeva, Jaya Gurudeva, Jaya Gurudeva, Jaya Gurudeva, Gurudeva, Jaya Gurudeva, Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Guru Parampara, Guru Parampara, Guru Parampara, Guru Parampara, Guru Parampara, Guru Parampara, Parampara, Guru Parampara, Nitai Gaura Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Gaura Hari Bol, Nitai Gaura Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol. Shila Gurudev ki jai, Shila Prabhupada ki jai, Guru Parampara ki jai, Kartik Vrat ki jai, Gaur Premanandi, Hari Hari Bol.
Thank you so much, Radhika Didi. And again, once again, thank you to all of the devotees that spoke today and all of those that listened and that will listen later. And we want to encourage everyone that spent any moment, even if it's not physically with Srila Gurudev, come and speak about Srila Gurudev, then we will feel so honored. So just wanted to say that, and thank you so much again. Vancha kalpatarubhisha kripa sindhu bevaja patatanam pavanibhyo vaishnavibhyo namo namah. Srila Gurudev ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai. And today is I think it's the appearance or disappearance day of Srila Bhakti Pramod Puri Goswami Maharaj. So he begging at his lotus feet for causeless mercy as well. Radhe Radhe, Srila Gurudev ki jai.